Welcome into the DML Network and another episode of The Grind. And this is our second episode of the good, the bad, the ugly, the Madden 19 version. We're going to go through all of them. What do we find that's great about this game? What do we think is bad? And then, of course, those ugly moments. It's your boy Expert on behalf of the DML Network. I appreciate y'all tuning in for this episode of The Grind. And you know I don't do these shows on my own. I got an all-star crew with me today. We'll start with the Super Bowl champion himself, Mr. Tight Work. What's going on, Tight?
Hey, what's good, man? How you doing today?
Hey, man, glad to be on the show. Glad to have y'all on here. And we got a guy that I've done shows with and I love doing shows with. It's the homie, the Bus. And you know it's rolling. What's up, Bus?
What's going on, man? Let's keep it rolling.
No doubt. And we got a new guy on the show. First time on the show with your boy Expert. It's West Coast Pablo, Mr. Puglisi. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, we are good. All right, guys. Madden 19. Let's go ahead and talk first a little bit about your personal experience with Madden 19. We'll start with Tight Work. You got those wonderful Dolphins here in the DML. How are you liking Madden 19 so far? Overall experience.
Before patch or post patch? Hey, before patch, I loved it. Since the patches started coming out, the excitement is starting to dwindle. But I'm keeping pushing though. I still like the game. It's better than 18.
All right, Bus, you feel that same way as Tight Work does?
Yeah, man. I like it, pre-patch. I like it post-patch. But I think overall the game's pretty good. I'm liking it. I like it way better than Madden 18. And hey, let's just keep it rolling, man.
All right, Puglisi, what about you? Madden 19 overall.
I like it. I like the graphics. I did like it pre-patch. But I mean, it is what it is. I like some of the animations and the running back cut move, stuff like that. I like how they changed it up from previous Madden.
All right, so overall, 3 guys, better than Madden 18. So let's talk about some of those good things that you really do like. This is your opportunity. And guys, I want to make sure people understand this is just our opinion here with us 5 here in the DML. We reached out to our guys in our league, asked them how they felt about it. They gave us some positives, some negatives. Obviously, everybody's going to have a different opinion of Madden 19. I've seen all ends of the spectrum. Those guys that are like, this is the greatest Madden ever created. To those guys that say, they should just go ahead and close up shop and EA should stop making football games. There's all ends of this spectrum, but this is just our opinion. So let's talk about some of the good things. Bus, what is one thing that you love about Madden 19 that we haven't seen in previous Maddens that they really did improve on this year?
Man, one of the greatest aspects or features of this game that I like is the one cut. I really like the one cut. I think it really enhances the run game. It's almost like you make that cut and you up the field. What I'm saying? Before, they when the game first came out, even in the beta, it was some issues because you couldn't really turn up field.
Right.
But they corrected those issues. So now, the run game is a little bit more intense. I think you need a little bit more skill to run and then get off those one cuts. But overall, the one cut in the running game is something that I really like.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that they really tried to improve with the real player motion was to have that running back like we see in the real NFL. That guy that can put his foot in the ground, see the hole, and change direction, and next thing you know, he's 30 yards down the field. But definitely, I love that part about Madden 19, the one cut with the halfback, if you're good at it. Now, Bus, you get those guys that say the one cut don't work. Are those just guys that are struggling to figure out how to use it?
Hey, those are guys who run everything on the outside. Yeah. That's those guys. They just don't know how to utilize the one cut, and they just don't know the physics of hitting the hole when you need to. Every run isn't gonna go outside. A dive isn't gonna go outside. So right. That's just my opinion.
All right, Puglisi. One or two things you love about Madden 19 that we haven't seen in a Madden game.
One thing I do like when you're running the ball and the running back doesn't just run into his lineman. You know, he does a little Le'Veon move where he's looking for the hole, looking for some space to then make a cut. I do like some of the animations, especially from the DB. The extra swat after you catch the ball. He kind of still doesn't just give up on the tackle. He just goes and just smacks the ball out of your hand. I think I like that a lot. It's more realistic to like real life football. You know, like they're playing the ball. They're not just playing to make the tackle. He's really not trying to let you have that completion. I really like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely some of the animations have been improved in Madden 19. That's definitely one of them. Or when he grabs that ball and he rips it away from you. I definitely like that. So definitely a good part of Madden 19. All right, Tight Work. What you got for me?
The good about the game is me.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't get no better than me. I'm the good. But nah, I'm a franchise guy. I like the new progression system. I think that was a step in the right direction. You can't just spam one specific attribute and make it good. I like how they spread it out, and then now that awareness and play rec means a little bit more for the players because they get better as a whole and not just in one aspect of their game. So I think that's a good thing, the progressive system.
Yeah, and definitely this is where scheme really comes into play, where you're gaining XP for those players if they're under that scheme fit for your team, and that player is progressing a little bit faster. But that is random. I really do like that it's random, and guys aren't able to just build up one section of a player. You know, Madden is picking those spots where they're upgrading your guy, and I like that part about it. I like the fact that you have to pick which archetype that you have for that player, and that it can change. While he may start as a field general, you can turn him into a West Coast quarterback. So I think some of those things that they did put in the game definitely were some good things. And another couple things that you know, the guys in the Dynasty have mentioned is it's a lot. You actually have an opportunity now to throw the ball up the seam versus, you know, if you had a safety in Madden 18 that was playing on the hash mark on the other side of the field, he would always make that play. It was very difficult for you to find that window, where now it's a little bit more realistic. You don't have linebackers covering the entire field. While you still have the ability to cover the field, it's definitely not like it was in Madden 18, where we have super linebackers taking care of everything. And then one thing that I really, really have enjoyed is that they're no longer that gimme route in coverages. You know, in Madden 18, if I caught you in a cover 3, I was killing you with the out route. I mean, you were dead. There was no way you were covering that, no matter who you had at corner. Where now, a lot of times, you can select that corner and it's an interception, or it's a knockdown, or, you know, we're tackling your receiver as soon as he touches the ball. So I think they have made some adjustments. One of the guys in Dynasty even brought up the fact that it does feel like EA is listening and putting these patches out to try and listen to the community. Now, we may not all agree with some of the ways that the patches have came to the Madden community. There's going to be, like I say, there's going to be guys on all sides of the coin. And guys, y'all talk about this for a second, where we may get a patch where we may think 75% of the patch is good, but then we may not like the other 25%. I don't think we'll ever get a patch, Tight Work, that we're going to be like 100% and go, man, they nailed this one. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that, but the thing about the patches is when they fix one thing, they break 3 others. That's the biggest problem with the patch. Like, I understand what they're trying to do, but then when they break other aspects of the game, and then it's not like a small break, it's like a big break, and the dams open up. That's when we have a problem with the patches. But I do appreciate that they're trying to fix it year round and not just waiting till the next installment to give us a new game with fixes that should have been done now.
All right, so Tight Work brought up the first bad thing about Madden 19. While we may see a fix here or there from a patch, then we're starting to see other things broken. Bus, can you talk about that? Is that kind of what you're seeing as well, where we have maybe one thing fixed, but then, three other things kind of get thrown out of whack when you start playing your Madden games.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all are experiencing that now with the latest patch that came out, where they were fixing some things. However, they came out with another patch to fix that. The initial patch that they came out with, I think we all were experiencing that blue screen. Going into the franchise and you get a blue screen, you play a game, you get a blue screen. But they came out with a patch, what they call an emergency patch, to fix it. So hopefully that's fixed. But as Kite said, they'll fix one thing and maybe one or two other things will get broken. So if they can kind of, get a hold on to that, the patches will be successful and more wanted.
Do we ever see a Madden game where the patch actually fixes things and not breaks something else? Do we ever get to that point where they just can go in there and fix the issues that we see in the game? Or is there too many different people in this community with difference of opinions that will never get to that point?
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest issue. I think a lot of guys are what I call selfish, and they want changes in the game that benefits them, and they don't look at the entire community, that how the change may benefit all. What I'm saying? I think Tight or Publizi mentioned it earlier. When the game first came out, Madden 19 was really good, and then they started kind of, I guess, dumbing it down or whatever. And it's not that you want a game where it's going to be challenging, and I think a lot of guys don't adjust, and they just want to play like they've been playing in 17 or 18, but you can't. It's a new game. So,
all right. So I think Bus brings up a good point, and Publizi, I'm gonna ask you, do you think the skill gap in Madden, that's kind of what Bus is talking about, where when the game first came out, there was a skill gap, and you had to adapt and adjust and figure out how you were going to become successful. Do you think Madden is trying to take that skill gap away and just put everybody on an equal playing field?
I feel like that, especially with MUT. And I feel like it's coming over to the franchise. The dudes that play MUT, they want to bring in that game style, and it's not sim football. Like it's not even competitive. It's straight like arcade mode. As you run in 2-3 plays, it feels like you're playing Blitz, but just with a real life, animated character. I feel that when you're playing sim, it's like it's hard to make the guys be realistic to like what you see on the field on Sundays. But at the same time, I feel like the skill gap, as far as like reading the defense and like saying certain hot routes, I feel like you can't just send a screen. If you read man coverage, I wouldn't set a screen. You know what I mean? Like, it's the defense is gonna react a lot quicker. I feel like in certain situations, the zones don't play like to what for example, like a hard flat. Sometimes I feel like they kind of drift a little bit back and allow those short routes. But I mean, like you said, it's not perfect. You gotta adjust, you gotta change it up, you gotta find something that works for your game style. Like Bus said, you can't just come in with your gameplay from 16, 17, 18 and be like, well, I'm gonna use the same playbook, the same plays, the same scheme. It's different. It's a different game.
Yeah, and I think that some of what they're trying to do is, whether they believe this is what's happening or not, that skill gap is getting smaller and smaller, and it takes away from us guys that are in this franchise mode, where we're trying to build a franchise really from the ground up. At the end of our cycle here in the Dynasty, there are very few NFL guys still on rosters. I mean, there's usually a handful of guys throughout the entire league that still have maybe that guy that was 21, 22 when we first started, that's still in the league. But for the most part, most of these teams are brand new, and you have to build your team to fit your style. And when there's no skill gap, it makes it very difficult for you to stand out in a franchise. And I think with these patches that are coming out, we start looking at, and I understand the MUT side of it, It's very important to EA, and it should be. It makes them millions and millions of dollars every single year. But I've always said this: without connected franchise, without us CFM guys, there is no MUT. There never is a MUT, because this game doesn't take off like it did without the franchise guys building the base that we did for Madden. So I think a lot of times, and maybe I'm the only one, but I think a lot of times there should be where franchise gets the top notch stuff when you put a patch out. And usually, and maybe I'm just the way that I read it. Usually, your franchise stuff in the patch is at the very bottom. It's like, oh yeah, we fixed this stuff for the franchise guys. And it's the blue screen is exactly a good point. When you look at and unfortunately that was just on the PlayStation. I've never seen on my Xbox an issue with the blue screen whatsoever, but on the PlayStation it was rampant. I played a game last night and we literally had 3 blue screens before we got the game in. And that's just something like that cannot happen with as many people as play this game. But let's go through some more bad things about Madden 19. And guys, these are not career killers. These are not things like that. These are issues that we think can be fixed, but are things that make you kind of take a step back and go, okay, what is going on in Madden 19 right now? And I'll start, and then I'll let you talk on it, Tight Work. One of the things that I think is bad is when you intercept a pass or you pick a fumble up and the screen turns around. 99% of the time, you're getting run over by your own player, or you make the wrong move on the sticks, and you are already tackled before you ever get a chance. And these most of the time, it's in the open field. And it's the most frustrating thing, especially if you're in a close game and you get a pick and that screen turns around and your player takes off in the opposite direction. That is frustrating to me. And I think it's something that's got to be addressed. And it's been like that from the start, Bus, and I know you've seen it. I've seen it several times in your games here in the Dynasty, where you pick a ball off and as soon as you pick it off, I go, that's a touchdown. Yeah. And then your guy gets tackled 8 yards deeper than where he caught the ball. Right. Is that something that is just frustrating as a Madden player?
Yes, it's very frustrating, man, because before the screen flips, you're already taking 3 or 4 or 5 steps backwards. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. Now, this is going to take us back to what we talked about earlier, how you fix one thing and it messes up the other. Remember, I think on 18, they actually fixed it. Right. Where it wasn't flipping, it was just a smooth transition. But what happened? It started messing up other stuff, and they had to backtrack and turn it back to where it was. So I hope this is something that they can fix, or even if they can't, make the transition smoother, man. Like, there's no way I should have a pick 6, and then when it flips, I'm tackled like immediately. Yeah, exactly. That's a game changer, man. You know.
Yeah, go ahead, Tight Work.
Even worse than that is when you get an interception and you lose all control of the guy and he's just dancing one place. Look like he's starting one of those new mumble rap dances or something. I don't know what it is, but that's I just wanted to add that. Y'all go ahead, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And then there are times, for whatever reason, you throw an interception and your wide receiver just stands there. Yeah, and watches as the other player starts to make motion. Now, usually, you're running backwards, so I'm gonna eventually get you with somebody. But that's also a frustrating thing to me in Madden 19 is that your player quits. He gets that. I think Bus calls it the Ezekiel Elliott effect. Yeah. Where you pick it off and you just quit on the play because you don't get paid to tackle people. As a Cowboy fan, that really hurts, Bus. But that's definitely one of the bad things. All right, Puglisi. What's the one thing bad about Madden 19?
I think the QB animations pre-snap could be a little bit quicker, a little bit more sense of urgency, especially during like a 2-minute drill. I'm not saying it should be different during the 2-minute drill than the rest of the game, but especially in the 2-minute drill or the end of the game, try and call a hot route or any type of audible. It's just a little excessive time being wasted, especially on the play clock. I think I could be a little bit quicker.
All right. Tight work. You feel like the animations of the QB is taking too long sometimes?
I do only when I'm playing someone that running the clock.
Yeah.
Other than like, cause you sit there and since they added this, you can tell when they're audibling or when they just sitting at the line. So when they just sit at the line and then wait till the last minute to do it, then you see the animation, you be like, WTF. But I like the animation. Me and him a little different. I like it because it adds, I guess, simulation or authentic. I can't even talk right now.
That's that layer. That's that layer that we've been talking about Madden for a long time, and I wish there were more layers like that. But I can see both sides. While I love the animations of the quarterback because that's real life, as a Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan gets up to the line and they're making multiple changes. The play clock is running in real football. Now, when teams get into that 2-minute warning and beyond, and they're trying to go down the field, sure, those animations tighten up in the real NFL, and they should do the same thing in Madden. It should tighten up, because if you're trying to hurry up and you still need to make adjustments, even in the real NFL, those just get tighter. And so I can understand both sides. I do like the animations, and see, that's what we were talking about. Even on this show, we're going to have difference of opinions of where we think Madden 19 should go. I like the animations, but I do see how in the 2-minute drill they could tighten up a little bit. All right, Bus. One more thing that you think is bad about Madden 19.
Hey, I'm so glad you came back to me, man.
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm gonna go back to tight too. So
hey,
we gonna get it all in.
Hey, I experienced this 2 times. I'm just pointing those 2 things out because that's what I can remember right now. But I'm sure it's happened to everybody. On a fumble, before during the beta, whatever, guys would fumble, you would hit them, they would fumble again. Like nobody wanted to pick up the ball. Now they fixed that to a certain degree. I played a game the other day. His guy fumbled. My guy just came and laid down right by the ball and took a nap. Didn't even put his hand on the ball to grab it. Like, how do you fall down by the ball but don't grab it when you are the only one around it? Now, I was talking to I think Noob or Tight about this, and I said I don't think Madden has integrated physics of maybe a big guy having a hard time doing a scoop and score versus a skill type guy like a wide receiver or a running back. I know for sure that's not in the game.
Right.
Are they going to put that in the game? Maybe, but there's no reason why my guy should be running to the ball, fall down, and he can't grab the ball.
Yeah, and Bus, I'm going to piggyback on that. If I see another offensive lineman kick the football, so I played a game where Zeke fumbled the football, and Tyron Smith turned around to go get the ball, and when he bent over, he kicked the football, and he kicked it into the other team's hands. Like, it kicked it up in the air, and the other guy caught it. And I've seen it where it looks like we went from playing Madden 19 to now we playing FIFA 19, to where we just standing back there kicking the ball around, and there'll be 3 offensive guys right there to make a play, and then their defender will come in and get the football. Yeah. I mean, that stuff right there is the frustrating stuff. I know we call it the good, the bad, and ugly, but that's the frustrating part about Madden 19. And it wasn't just 19. Madden 18 had some of those same issues, but I think Madden 19, we're starting to see a different set of bad stuff.
Right.
And fumbles is definitely one of them. All right, Tight Work. Another bad thing about Madden 19.
This was fixed at the beginning of 18. Then they changed it to where if on offense, if you come out in a big set, a heavy set, and the other guy's in a quarters, and you just need 2 yards for a first down, and you cannot get 2 yards versus a quarters with tight ends, fullbacks, and linebackers on the field versus DBs. That's probably more frustrating than part of the fat guy dancing around the ball trying to pick it up. I can understand. Okay, if I try to run a sweep and you're trying to get outside with it, and then you don't get no yards. But if you going between the tackles, A B gap,
Yep.
and you get hit in the backfield by a guy that a linebacker that's 10 yards off the ball and comes straight through the gap, your linemen don't even recognize him, and you get hit.
Yeah. At no point when there's 3 down linemen and 1 or 2 linebackers versus a 6-man front on your offensive line should you ever have an issue gaining 2 or 3 yards.
Exactly.
And they talked about in Madden 18 that was supposed to be one of the fixes, right? That if you came out uneven on defense, you were going to get run in Madden 18. And it was like that at the beginning of Madden 19, and then it's been changed. So now
the tier buckets came out.
If you can't, that's it. Them tier buckets showed up. People started complaining they couldn't run their dollar and stop the run. Well, you're not supposed to stop the run in dollar. If you line up in dollar and I catch you in dollar and I'm running the football, you should have to call a timeout to stop your defense from getting ran. And that's how it is in real football. If you come out with 3 down linemen and I catch you in that 3 down lineman, I'm just going to hand the ball off to a running back, and we should be picking 4 or 5 yards up a clip. Where now we're getting the insta shed right off the bat, where there should be a double team on every single down lineman, and then vaulting to the next level. But we don't see that. And we saw that at the beginning of the year when Madden 19 first came out, that if you lined up in those uneven sets, you were going to get run on if you had a good user on the other side. So why did it change? Why is that something that Madden felt needed to change?
To lessen the skill gap from guys that know football to guys that don't. Because if they see some guys go through formations and have one play on the screen, don't know what formation they're in, they look at the play arc and like, this should stop it. Then you come out with one lineman, 3 linebackers, and 10 DBs, and I'm stopping a 5 offensive lineman set where I can just power through them, and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Especially, I can understand an arcade and maybe competitive if they want it that way, but in sim and franchises, it shouldn't happen. DBs shouldn't come through clean in sets like that to stop the run for no gain.
Yeah, and that's where I think ratings still they don't matter as much as they should. If I get a pulling guard on a counter play, there's no way your safety should blow up my guard and make the tackle in the backfield. That just should not happen. Now, right. He may slip the tackle, he may slip the block, but if he's engaged with that offensive tackle, there's no way 185 pounds is beating 320 pounds. There's no way. And I see that a lot. So I think ratings still aren't where they need to be. And talking with the EA guys that we have, they want to get to that point where ratings just take over. But I still don't think we're at that point. All right, Puglisi, another thing that's bad in Madden 19.
Another thing that's bad, I mean, the wide receiver animation, sometimes when say you throw a deep ball, they do that, like they act like they're gonna go for the ball, but it's kind of uncatchable. But I'm talking about the animation where you throw an interception and they kind of get down on themselves while the DB's returning it, and they don't react to the ball. It's like, I mean, that's not real life. I mean, no one's gonna ever complain about a play while the guy's running the ball the other direction. I feel like that could and should be fixed.
Yeah, unless you're Ezekiel Elliott. Because that's what he does in Denver. So he doesn't fight for his quarterback. But it's it's not like I got not like that's personal to me. But let's take a look, guys, at some of the things some of the Dynasty guys talked about. So if you remember possession catching in Madden 18, if you possession catch a football, you're almost guaranteed to make that catch. Do you think the change this year where now sometimes when you possession catch, you're still vulnerable to take a hit stick and drop that football? Is that something that's bad in Madden 19, or is that something guys got to get adjusted to? Bus, I'll go to you first.
Man, honestly, I think that's something that they got to get adjusted to. When I think back to Madden 18, and you did a possession catch, it was like an automatic catch. Like you
it
fall,
was like a force field around you.
yeah, you catch it, you fall straight down like right there. This year, it's like you catch it, it throws you in another animation that kind of slows you up, and you're still susceptible to a hit stick or a tackle.
Right.
I guess I like it because I feel like just because you possession catch, it shouldn't be automatic. I mean, there should still be some way where you can get hit or possibly drop the ball. So that aspect of the game, I don't mind. I think it's a little realistic. I mean, one of the other guys may disagree, but that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, we're going to ask the other guys. Tight work. Possession catches this year versus last year. Is that something bad in Madden 19, or is that something where guys just have to get adjusted to it and used to it?
I'm in the middle. I think I like the way that they're trying to go with it, but I think the animations need more work because sometimes your guy have a catch. There's no way this guy can knock it out, and then he'll bounce up. He's an inch from the ground from being down, then he'll come up, stand up just to drop the ball. Yeah. If they make the animations make more sense, I'm all for it. Football is never 100%. There's no matter what anybody say about football, nothing's guaranteed. So the possession catch shouldn't be guaranteed. And I like the direction that they're moving in. I just think they need to work on the animations.
All right. So we got one, get used to it. We got one, it could be better. All right, Puglisi, how do you feel about possession catch in Madden 19?
I feel like people should get adjusted to it, but I think I'm on the same boat with Tight, where the animations after the fact, like I feel like I even did a possession catch. The guy took 2-3 steps and then he dropped the ball. Big ankle tackle. It was an ankle tackle, and it's like, how you drop the ball possession catch on an ankle tackle? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And it was like, third down. I needed a first down. So it's like critical times in the game where it's like it doesn't do its job. I mean, those animations shouldn't happen and create that outcome. But I mean, no doubt. I mean, if you try a possession catch and the ball gets there as soon as the safety's going to come light you up, I mean, hey, that shouldn't be a catch, depending on the attributes of that right receiver.
Right.
But I mean, I think the animations, just animations.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing. I'm kind of with y'all. I think there are times where the possession catch should be a guaranteed catch in space. But where a guy is taking 2-3 steps and still able to make that ball come out, that's kind of where the issue comes up. But you're going to have those guys that think as soon as I make a possession catch, I should have a force field around me like the quarterback. You can't touch me. And that's supposed to be a catch, which, sometimes I agree when I need to catch. I think possession catch should work like that. But for the most part, that's not how the real NFL works. One more thing on bad, and then we'll move on to the ugly part. And this is something that has carried over from Madden 18 into Madden 19. And I'm still waiting for this fix to happen. But if you play a guy that goes in hurry up mode, and you are unable to make an adjustment as a defense, you're unable to change your coverage, you're unable to fix your linebackers, you're unable to move your corners down, that is a big problem for me in a game style where you got guys that are down late in the game, you have no timeouts left, and you're trying to get a stop to secure a game, and you cannot adjust your defense. And this is a carryover from Madden 18. We saw the same issues. Now, it doesn't happen every single time, but it's very frequent. And I've seen this year, guys, that I've been able to make an adjustment, maybe the first hurry up or the second hurry up, but then eventually it kicks in where I can't change anything. Plus, how frustrating is that when you know you need to stop, you got them on the ropes, they're in a hurry up offense, you know they're throwing the football, and you're trying to adjust, and you just can't make any on your defense.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, man. It really puts you in a bad position, man. So, because sometimes it won't even let you call the timeout. So you're just stuck in that same formation, and you pretty much just gotta hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one thing that they really need to fix as far as like being able to make changes. When the offense is in hurry up. So hopefully that's something that they continue to work on. I mean, we would expect like something that major would be fixed in Madden 19, or possibly be in some of these thousands of patches that they put out. But maybe they just missed that one. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's not getting enough. It's not getting enough airplay on Twitter.
Yeah,
you know, in the forums of it being a problem. All right, guys. You know, when we start this show, we call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. So now we got to get to the ugly part. All right. Now, the ugly part is, and I want to make sure you guys don't hold anything back here, because I want y'all to be completely honest. This is your opinion. And guys, as you're watching this video, I would love for y'all to put in the comments, you know, you're good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I would love to compile some of those things. Matter of fact, if you want to hit us on our Twitter at the Dynasty CFM, you can always hit my Twitter at DML Experts Corner. I would love to hear from the community on what your good, bad, and ugly is. And I know you guys got plenty of stuff to send me, but the ugly part is the part of Madden 19 that makes you want to throw the controller through the screen while you're playing this game. You know, the bad is stuff you can deal with. You get upset, you put it in the chat. Good game, Madden. But the ugly is where you get on Twitter and say, I'm never buying Madden again. That's what this ugly category is for. And I'm going to start with you, Tight Work. What is your ugly part of Madden 19?
No, we not talking about my looks right now, right?
No, sir.
Bad.
No, sir. You're a happily married man, so you know, your ugly looks mean absolutely nothing on this show. Which is why they put expert on the screen.
Hey,
I don't understand that. They put the ugly expert on.
I hit her in the head with a club, man.
Is that what drug her back to the cave?
Yeah, but as far as the game go, is we've been playing CFM for a long time. The scheme, it's almost like an insult because it really doesn't do anything. You pick pretty much two positions that you want to work on. If they fit your scheme, then they get a boost in training. But it does nothing outside of that. You know, and that it's almost like I like it. It looks good being in the game, but it does absolutely nothing besides giving you a boost that you got last year when you brought the coaching package for that specific position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it feels like almost a waste of time to me. I think that's the ugly part of it because it's for football fans that's diehard CFM that played head coach 09 and all the PlayStation 2 mans with the franchise was lit to what we got today. And then the big addition now is the scheme fit. And the scheme fit doesn't do anything but give my guy 100 more XP if he fits the scheme.
Right. It just allows you to upgrade that player faster versus what it did last year. And so, Tight Work, if I'm hearing you correctly, you want practice mode, you want training mode to actually mean more to your team leading up to that week's game, correct?
I want if you're gonna say it's gonna be a scheme fit, I want the scheme fit to mean more outside of a training. I want it to mean when it goes into gameplay that my scheme versus your scheme. If I'm a 4-3, let's say I'm a Tampa 2. Right. So my whole defense is built around a Tampa 2, and if you're running at me, you're successful. Now, if you're trying to throw the ball to the flats, I'm picking you off, taking it to the house, because that's my scheme overlapping your scheme. But if you run at a Tampa 2, you're gonna have success, and that's what I got to live with. My positives versus my negatives. But now the scheme fit is like, okay, I just drafted this stud rookie safety, and I'm gonna pick a scheme that fits him, and I'm gonna just upgrade him all year and make him look good on paper. But it really doesn't do anything for the whole team.
Right. So scheme fit really doesn't matter in Madden 19, is what you're saying. The only thing it matters about is, does your player get extra XP when we sim training points before the game starts? And you're absolutely right. Scheme fit means absolutely nothing once the whistle blows. It doesn't help you. It doesn't hurt you. Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't change your playbook. Doesn't change how your players play, their mentality, nothing. Scheme fit only matters in training mode. That's the only time your scheme fit matters with your player. Your player gets extra points if he's a scheme fit player versus someone that's not. So you have an opportunity to upgrade him a little bit faster in the scheme. But yeah, it makes absolutely no sense, which means archetypes mean absolutely nothing except to get extra XP before the game starts. So definitely, that's another layer we like to see in CFM, to where scheme actually matters. If I've got a 4-6 defense, or I've got that West Coast offense, that does it matter versus what you have called on defense. So I really like that tight work. That's a great way to start the ugly version of Madden 19. All right, Pablo, your ugly thing in Madden 19, it makes you want to throw the controller through your TV.
It's not even a gameplay thing. It's more just I hope EA in the next coming Maddens, just like you said earlier, put a little bit more emphasis into franchise mode. I mean, like you said, there wouldn't be a MUT without franchise mode. And I feel like if some of these, like, say for example, Madden 20 came out and it was basically marketed around like, our new franchise mode, our new, updates, our new way to build, our new schemes, our new, new defensive formations that are in the game, stuff like that. Like, that's the stuff that I like when they change up defensive playbooks and stuff like that. I mean, overall, like, having franchise mode as a more of a it factor for Madden, I mean, it probably won't happen because, like you said, MUT makes millions of dollars for them. So as far as like the gameplay, I'd like to see like different plays. I feel like every Madden, like, I use a Dolphins playbook, and since Madden 15, like, they got the basic same playbook, like almost every Madden basically. Even with a different coach, it's the same offensive playbook. So it's like, I don't know. And then you watch a game on Sunday and it's like, well, that play's not in there. I know not every play is going to be in there, but like when you see your team run that play a few times and you're like, well, that'd be pretty cool in Madden. I feel like if they could like change up the defensive playbook, not throughout the year, but maybe Madden to Madden, every cycle.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you, Pablo. And I think one of the things they got to add in Madden is they got to add in a play generator. You should be able to go in there and create plays for your team and add them to your playbook. They got it. That can't be that difficult. I should be able to go in and put route combinations I want to see in my playbook and have a custom playbook built on plays that I created. And I should be able to create everything from the blocking scheme. You should start with a dummy play, and you should be able to change the blocking scheme. You should be able to change the routes. You should be able to change so many things in a play, and I think that's something they got to look at adding for Madden 20 and going forward. And you talk about playbooks being the same. I mean, guys, even the commentary in Madden 19 feels like it's Madden 18.1. Mm-hmm. And to me, and listen, everybody that knows myself, the top guys here in the Dynasty, the co-commissions, SJ, Tone, of course, our head commish, Nasty Noob, and guys that we've gone out and talked to EA guys when we were at EA Play and done those things. We are diehard EA fans. We want this to be the most successful game possible. And I tell people all the time on my streams on Facebook, I'm never going to not buy Madden because of the friendships, the brotherhoods that we've created. But I also think sometimes, and this is not a development thing. I think sometimes even though suits have a big play in this, that they get lazy for Madden. And that's one of the things that is frustrating to me because this game is so successful. With the way competitive Madden has gone, the way MUT has gone, you see thousands and thousands of franchises every single year. They got to stop being lazy. We should have got a brand new commentary set for Madden 19. It should have been completely different than Madden 18. If that means they got to find 2 new guys to commentate, do so. It's got to be new every single year. It cannot be the same stuff from year to year because we notice it in franchise mode. As many games as we're playing, we can tell when you don't change the commentary. And that's frustrating to us. Even something simple like that. And same thing with the playbooks. They got to get fresh because that's the way that. Now, I understand I can take any play pretty much in Madden and change it up. But we still don't have. And I saw that on this patch, they did add different hot routes in MUT. Now, you had to pay for them. but you could get different hot routes in mud. And I think those just got to be constant available. There's at no point does a quarterback in the NFL line up tight work and not have an option to send his wide receiver on a post, or not have an option to send him on, a deep in route. That's just part of football. A quarterback has every option, every hot route available for a wide receiver, and we don't see that in Madden. And do you think that's something that could be easy to add, or do you think it's EA is just said the game is what the game's going to be, and we're just going to let it go?
It used to be in a game where you can edit your hot routes, pick the hot routes that you want for a specific button. Hey, also the play creator used to be in the game where you could create your own formation and plays.
Correct.
Whether or not we'll ever get it again, I don't know. Maybe, we got more power now, but it seemed like we did less on weaker systems.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Bus, give me your ugly.
Hey, man, this is my ugly. I've had it happen to me, and I know it happened to you recently, where you in overtime. And
gosh, you gonna bring this up? I may throw my controller now through the screen.
You're in overtime, and your opponent gets the ball first. Now we all know the NFL rules. Hey,
absolutely.
You win on a touchdown or a safety.
Correct. Right? Correct. That's the only way to win on the first possession.
That's the only way to win on the first possession.
Or a safety. Correct.
So in this situation, the guy that had first possession kicks a field goal. Game over. TV broke. I need a new controller, a new TV. That's the results of this particular situation. Man, come on, man. There's no reason why this should happen.
And no reason. Bus, what's so frustrating is it doesn't happen every time.
No, it doesn't.
It's like it picks and chooses when to follow the rule and when not to follow the rule.
Yes.
Right. And I appreciate you bringing up that and breaking my heart again. I lost the football game where you play defense, you get a stop, you make them kick a field goal, and you are ready to go. You're like, okay, now we got to go down the field and score a touchdown and win this thing. And next thing you know, your players in the locker room with an L. Yeah. And that's frustrating to me. And I still have not heard an answer back from EA. I've sent it in to figure out what's going on, because multiple people, when I put it on Twitter, reached out to me and said, hey, same thing happened to me. Same thing happened to me. Hey, I won a game just like that. I was confused at how that worked. And so that's definitely the ugly part of Madden 19. And then for my ugly thing, and we'll try and get out of here, as we don't want to go too long, because we could talk all day on things we want fixed in our Madden game. But last night I played a game where a player got tackled. He gets up. Nothing wrong with him. Looks like he goes back to the huddle, and he's out 8 weeks. How is that possible? He popped right back up. Nothing wrong with him. But then another player will lay on the ground and grab his knee and be rolling over in the dirt, and he got muscle cramps, or he got the wind knocked out of him, and he'll be back shortly. Those are the things that are frustrating. That's, if the animation is going to be real, then let's make it fit what's really happening. Right. And I saw somebody talk about, if y'all remember, the ambulance used to come out onto the field in old versions, and if you were in the way of the ambulance, you got ran over by the ambulance. Why is that more realistic than what we got now, where my linebacker goes down, he makes the tackle, or he's not even involved in the play, and you see him walking around on the field, and then all of a sudden you get an injury report that says, he broke his tailbone and he's done for 8 weeks.
I got my hand raised.
Yeah. Okay, tight work. I see your hand. Go ahead, man.
Hey, they made a song about that, man. Hey, he tried to walk it out. Walk it out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you got a fractured tibia, you're not trying to walk it out. They bringing the air cast out, putting you on a little cart, and driving you back to the locker room. But for me, for expert, that's my ugly part, is I want the game to match up the animations. And I think it's something they got to fix. Now, like I said, guys, we could sit here and talk about all the things that need to be fixed in Madden 19. And let me just say this, I've met some great people through this game. And not even talking about my brothers here in the Dynasty, because if y'all are in the franchise mode, you're with these guys all year long. You're talking crap to each other. You sending each other GIFs in their DM, of handing them L's. I mean, listen, this is a brotherhood in CFMs. But I've met some amazing people through this game changers, from Shop Master to Sim F-Ball Critic to Smitty, guys that are content creators like Hollywood Sports, even the competitive guys like Dreeny and Dubby and those guys like that. But even all the way up to the developers, Clint. We got a chance to talk to Ben Hawmiller, one of the most amazing guys with EA. And I will say this: those guys that we've met want to have the greatest game possible, but sometimes their hands get tied, and it's out of their control. So, and I'm going to always shout this from the rooftops. No matter who you are, whether you're on one end of the spectrum, whether this is the greatest game ever, or EA should close doors and stop making Madden, we got to find a way to have one voice in this community. And it can't be the game's too hard. I should be able to run for 300 yards every time I get on the field. That's not real football. The skill gap has to return. And if the skill gap wants to be small in certain modes like arcade, or in a mutt mode where you got even teams and the skill gap is not there, and it's all about can you call the right route combination, then have it there. But in franchise, put the skill gap back and make guys work. Force guys to build a team to be successful, and I promise you'll make thousands and thousands of CFM guys happy, and we'll be real quiet about this game. But when we see patches come out, like my brothers Tightwork and Bus and Puglisi said, where we fix one thing, but then we open up the dam for the other three things, and we feel like we're getting flooded on, that's where we get frustrated the most. And that's one thing we got to get fixed. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. So let's go around the room. Puglisi, you got anything else for the guys here in the Dynasty, or anybody watching here on the DML network?
I think they could fix the franchise disconnection. Maybe the game should be saved. I think that's my last note. When the game gets disconnected and you go back into franchise mode, it should be saved. So then you don't have no conflict of restart. I was up by this point. It was on this large line. You know what I mean? Just have it restart from where it disconnected, and I think everything will be good.
Yeah, definitely something they can fix. All right, Bus. One more thing before we get out of here.
Hey man, I just want the fumbles to be fixed, man, and the issue with the kicking the field goals and the game being over with the first possession and overtime. That gotta be fixed.
Yep. All right, tight work. One more thing before we get out of here.
I just want them to keep working on their animation fluidity, just to make the animations make sense.
Yeah. I'm with tight work there. Just make the animations make sense. I'll be a happy camper. All right, guys. Big shout out to the homie, the Bus, Tight Work, and West Coast Puglisi for jumping on the grind with your boy Expert, the good, the bad, and ugly Madden 19. Of course, we always want to give a shout out to our producer, Dr. Dre, in the background, Mr. Nasty Noob. Appreciate everything he does with the graphics, making your boy Expert look good. But you are tuned into the DML Network. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see what we are doing here in the league. And it's your boy Expert, and we out.